The story begins in a place where an apocalypse caused by a deadly disease has devastated the entire city. However, a family survives by building a shelter in the jungle. But things take a turn when a ruthless gang discovers their hiding spot. Jake's father sacrifices his life to save Jake and the girl. Will Jake and the girl be able to survive on their own? Let's find out in today's story. At the beginning of the story, we see Jake and his father with another injured girl, who is in a very bad condition. Jake and his father go out every day to find food. One day, while hunting, they spot an animal from a distance. They slowly approach it to kill it. When Jake's father shoots an arrow, the animal is injured, but when they get closer, they can't find it. It runs away. Disappointed, they head back home. But on the way, Jake's father finds a small child's shoe on the ground, which makes him think there might be someone nearby. Soon, they spot a car parked along the road. They check it but find no one inside. Jake, feeling very hungry, finds a packet of biscuits in the car. He opens it quickly and starts eating. But just then, Jake's father senses something strange. He quickly tells Jake to get in the car and locks it. They notice some hostile figures approaching, so they remain very still and quiet to stay safe. They eventually head back home, where they have hidden their shelter beneath trees to remain undetected. The next morning, when Jake wakes up, he goes outside to use the bathroom. Suddenly, he feels something strange behind him. He quickly runs back inside the house, but soon they spot some men coming towards them. The family hurriedly grabs their belongings and runs to hide underground. Jake's father decides to confront the gang. Jake watches everything secretly, but he can't do anything to help. The gang ends up killing Jake's father, which makes Jake very sad. The gang then goes after Jake and the girl, but they can't find Jake. They take all the supplies and even Jake's father's body with them. Afterward, when Jake comes out of hiding, he finds that their shelter has been destroyed and everything has been taken. He decides to follow the gang, leaving the injured girl behind. As he walks a long distance, he starts feeling cold because the gang had taken all his clothes. Exhausted from hunger and cold, he collapses by a stream. Meanwhile, the girl wakes up and finds that Jake is missing. She tries to leave the shelter, but she can't open the door because Jake had locked it tightly. Jake found new hope when he saw a young boy pass by him. He followed the boy and reached a warehouse where the boy was living with his grandfather. They thought Jake would try to take food from them, but Jake had no such intention. Instead, he stole their clothes and left. After wearing the warm clothes, he felt a little hope. While walking through the jungle, he came across his father's burnt body. He buried his father's skull and then continued on his way. Jake had no other choice, so he spent the night in the jungle. Having spent most of his life under his father's protection, his solo journey helped him realize that he had the strength to survive and live a wild life. The next morning, Jake saw a member of a wild gang filling water from a river. He followed the woman and reached their camp. Jake saw the woman go to the other side of the camp, so he quietly entered and started collecting some supplies. But then the woman tried to attack him from behind. Jake managed to knock her down. After a fierce fight, Jake grabbed a stone and struck the woman on the head, killing her. Just then, the other gang members appeared. Jake quickly grabbed the supplies and dragged the woman's body behind a tree. He waited for the right moment to escape. Soon, he saw a wounded man take a pill from the medicine they had stolen from Jake's house. Jake had intended to retrieve these medicines. He had seen the gang leader storing them in a trunk, but stealing them wasn't easy. When the gang leader realized that one of his women had disappeared, he went to find her. They had kidnapped the little boy Jake had met earlier and were planning to eat him. When the gang left, Jake freed the boy, who fled to save his life. Jake tried to open the trunk, but it was locked. The gang later found the woman's body and realized that the same person who killed her must have freed the boy. Jake was hiding under a trailer, and when he saw the leader with a key hanging from his neck, he waited until the morning. When the leader left, Jake bravely entered the trailer. He struck a match to find the leader and, although it seemed impossible, managed to get the key in his hand. When he opened the trunk, he was relieved to find the medicine. He put it in his bag and was about to leave when he decided to lock the trailer door behind him to hide. The leader heard the sound of Jake running away and gathered his gang to chase him. After running for a long time, Jake reached the old warehouse where he had seen the boy and his grandfather. But when he arrived, he was shocked to find the old man's body and blood on the ground. For a moment, Jake forgot about the wild people and realized that the same danger might have been looming for the little boy as well. But then, the wild men caught Jake. They tied him up and were preparing to kill him, but Jake saw a shenai, a wind instrument on the ground, and used it to call the wild dogs. A pack of dogs arrived, and the wild men had no choice but to run away. Jake freed himself and ran to hide. After every difficulty, Jake proved to be strong and brave. He realized that as long as the wild men were alive, he couldn't live peacefully. So, he waited for the right moment to take them down. Out of the three, he killed two, but the leader was lucky and fearless. Jake tried to kill him with a stolen arrow. When the first arrow struck the leader's leg, Jake was preparing to shoot another one, but the arrow broke. Once again, the wild dogs interfered in their fight, and Jake ran away. He thought that maybe the hungry dogs would kill the leader. While Jake was walking through the jungle, he saw a wooden house. The owner of the house had died a long time ago, and there was a loaded pistol in his hand. Jake picked up the pistol and entered the house. He was surprised to see that the house was well prepared, with clean water and food. It seemed the owner had been prepared for the apocalypse. But why had the owner died? Maybe due to disease? Or perhaps he had taken his own life because of loneliness and despair. Jake found hope in the house and thought it could be an ideal place for him and the girl. They wouldn't need to worry about finding food. However, when the gang leader entered the house, Jake realized that only one person could survive there. He fought to save his life. A battle broke out between them, and by the end, Jake managed to push the leader away, grab the pistol, and kill him, resulting in the leader's death. Jake was filled with happiness. Now he could go back home and bring the girl to their new home. On his way back, Jake left some cans of food outside the warehouse for the little boy. While Jake was facing challenges outside his home, the girl was facing her own challenges inside. She had run out of water, and her wounds were worsening. On the other hand, the wild dogs wouldn't let her live in peace. One morning, a large number of wild dogs gathered outside her house, and one of them tried to enter through a crack in the roof. Finally, when Jake returned home, he was heartbroken to see that the girl was missing. He thought the worst. Maybe a wild person had taken her, or perhaps wild animals had killed her. All the time he had spent in the wild searching for food and clothes seemed wasted. Jake was filled with tears when suddenly someone placed a hand on his shoulder. We couldn't see who it was, but from the clothes, it could be inferred that it was the girl. And the story ends here. If you like the story, please give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care. Bye.